Hello and welcome back to From the Be-All End, and this is a quick reaction to Burnley's 5-0 win at Loftus Road on Saturday. We thought we'd get this one done, get it out for you, and then we'll come back again and assess the situation after Leeds United have played on Monday. I'm Simon Evans, with me Darren Bentley and Andrew Greaves. Let's start off with you, Daz. I mean, that was pretty much a perfect performance, wasn't it, today?
Yeah, a complete demolition job in the first half, a la Plymouth, really, earlier in the season, and it probably should have been 5 at half-time as well. But yeah, I mean, took the foot off the gas a little bit in the second half, which is a little bit understandable, but still managed to carve another 2 out. So, fantastic. Listen, it would have been great to get 8 or 9 and really start thinking about that goal difference with Leeds. That's probably not going to come into play now, but Bristol City, you know, if they ever wanted to be thrown a bit of a carrot, Coventry conceding a last-minute goal at Luton's thrown them a carrot now, so Bristol City have got every incentive to go to Leeds now and pick something up.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Greavesy, I mean, that performance, that you worry sometimes after you got promotion and there's been parties and people are having a few beers, whether they might come out a little bit sluggish, but it was the complete opposite, wasn't it?
Yeah, and right from the off as well. That was the thing. I mean, we scored early, and it just was one-way traffic by that point. QPR, poor side, or poor performance, I should say, not a poor side. But yeah, I mean, just the movement in the midfield, the running, the harrying, even towards the end. I mean, the commentators on Sky over here were saying, you know, it doesn't matter, you change personnel, it's the same attitude. Get at them, keep getting at them, don't give them any time, put them under pressure. And it was brilliant. I mean, you know, I think at one point they said Esteve and Egan Riley had 120 passes between them and misplaced one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah,
just incredible. And we were saying on the WhatsApp group, some of the match stats, you know, 14 touches in the opposition box inside half an hour, you know, and 1 for QPR. Any notion of a hangover. I thought it might be the battle of the can't be arsests with QPR on the beach and us, you know, nursing the hangovers. But you know what? That is Scott Parker. I think that is not just Scott Parker. That's this team. You know, they sense the fact that, you know what? If we'd have slipped up today and Bristol City had got some at Ellen Road on Monday, which they might do, we'd be kicking ourselves. I don't think they want to leave anything to chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sarmiento epitomises that, doesn't he? I mean, he's been a fringe player in a lot of ways this season, but he comes on in a game like that and he's buzzing around and pressing right from the start. They showed on television a group of Ecuadorian fans who presumably live in London who came along just to see him get off the bus, and they were waving the Ecuadorian flags. He went over and met them and then goes and bags too, which is a nice aspect to it. But we did see one change that was a bit of a surprise to see Luca Koleosho does start. But what did you make of his input into the game?
I think he fully justified his inclusion. Thought he was terrific. You know, Roberts couldn't have been better than he was today, and he laid a lot of the bedrocks. You know, every time he got the ball, he drove at a defender. I mean, it was startling how much time and room Burnley had in that first half. There wasn't a QPR player, in the same postcode as Josh Brownhill for the first half hour. And Burnley was getting the ball and being able to run 20, 25 yards with it. Hannibal could pick a pass out to the right and pick out Koleosho anytime he wanted. I thought it was a great all-round performance, but Koleosho, you're right, epitomises what this squad's all about. And Sarmiento, you mentioned him there. You know, players who haven't played too much, but they come in, they get the chance, and it's foot to the floor. That's the Scott Parker way, isn't it? He's not going to ease up. There was a little preview before the game on Sky where they had Josh Cullen, Roberts, Brownhill, and Barnsley talking about the season and talking about the promotion. And the end question was like, you still want the title, don't you? And you could see the hunger. You could definitely see the hunger. And this is probably filmed on Thursday morning when they probably stopped drinking 6 hours earlier from Monday night. So the hunger is definitely there, and you could see that, and that right from the kickoff today. I think this side is not letting up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, no one was, were they, Greaves? There was no one slacking at all. You see Cullen absolutely all over the pitch, Brownhill busy, Hannibal outstanding again. I mean, really, they showed a level of commitment there that even at 1-2-0, you'd think, like, okay, now they're going to knock it about and take it easy for a while. They didn't. They just carried on going.
No, and I think that's it. I mean, they'll all have one eye on next season and wanting to be in the plans. I mean, you know, the last time we went up, of course, the company tore that team apart and replaced them. I don't think Parker's going to be in that position, but it's, you know, you want to show that, you know what, you ain't going to take your foot off the gas. You want to be there. You mentioned Koleosho. I mean, we've been critical of Koleosho, a lot of people have, of his kind of running into dead ends, but everything he did today, by and large, impacted a phase of play. And I think, Parker, to his credit, could have just dropped him for a couple of games and then brought him back in, but he's not had a sniff. And I think what he's probably done in that time, and we've talked about this before, is seen the rhythm of a game. He's probably had the, analysis in his ear on the Monday morning. Look at what Edwards is doing. Look what Jaden Anthony's doing. And he's learning his craft. You've got to remember that when he came here, he'd barely played 90 minutes across 4 or 5 appearances, got his injury last season against Wolves. And it was difficult coming into the Championship. No Championship experience. It's completely different to Premier League, but he'll be boosted by that. You perhaps expect Edwards maybe to come back in against Millwall, but maybe not on that showing. He fully justified his inclusion, as Daz said.
Yeah, there was an interview with...
By the way, there was one great instance talking about the dedication in the first half. I think we might have been 3 up at the time. QPR launched a ball forward, had a one-on-one. I think it was Egan Riley up against one of their players. Within about 3 seconds, there were about 7 Burnley players in shot. Had got back into a defensive position. That was the commitment all day long to snuff out QPR and pick up that important clean sheet that equals that all-conquering Port Vale side.
Yeah, and breaks a Burnley record, of course.
Yeah.
Breaks that Burnley record from the 20s, 2021. 31. Is it 31 clean sheets now? 30 clean sheets? 30th clean sheet. There you go, yeah.
It is incredible. I mean, the numbers at the end of this campaign, we'll have to just do an episode where we just sit down and go through all the records and stats from this campaign, because it's been extraordinary. No, there was an interview with Jurgen Klopp this week I saw where he was saying the difference between the good players and the elite players is decision making, and I thought there were little signs there in Koleosho's performance that, like you say, the running into dead ends that was frustrating about him earlier in the season. And you saw today that when there wasn't that opportunity for him to go at the fullback, he was doing the smart thing. He was doing what Jaden Anthony does and Marcus Edwards does, and he's just passing it inside to Brownhill or to his fullback and keeping possession, keeping it moving, rather than giving the ball away. So it's encouraging signs. It does suggest, that they really are working on individual stuff at Gawthorpe with players who aren't in the team. Good to see Aaron Ramsey as well get back out on the field and got a tremendous reception from the Burnley fans. Yeah, does?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see him back. He'll be influential next season. I think he can have an influence in that side next season. There was one incident, he'd not been on long, and there was about a 60-40 challenge in favour of the QPR player, and Ramsey turned it quickly into a 90-10. There was no way he was going in for a 60-40 on his first appearance back. He let that one pass, I think, and understandably so. But you could tell again, just the camaraderie, when he comes on the pitch, everybody's high-fiving him, everybody's hugging him, the bench roll up, Mike Jackson's up applauding, everybody. There's such a togetherness about this squad that's so pleasing, heartwarming to see after what we saw, the side being ripped apart last time. So I think we can go into the summer really with a bit of heart and a bit of warmth, can't we? And look forward to this next season, whatever it brings.
Yeah, no, there's something about this team and this togetherness that needs to be maintained and built upon, even if a couple of players leave, which is going to be inevitable, isn't it? But you see someone as well like Nathan Redmond, very much a fringe figure this season, comes on, plays a slide rule pass across to Sarmiento for that goal, and then there's all celebrations with him, and when he's coming on the field as well, you just get the impression that this is a group that has been created out of a mess and has really, really come together as this year has gone on, Grace, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they said Redmond had played 7 minutes of league football. Well, he's probably played 15, 16 minutes of league football now and got himself an assist. So not bad for a kind of season's work. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think we've not had official confirmation, but the Sky commentators again confirmed that Humphreys and Edwards and Fleming and Anthony had all been, the obligation, the option on those players had all been taken. So we can, we've got those 4 lads in the building for next season, I presume on fairly decent deals. And again, a lot of chatter has been kind of, it's not a foregone conclusion that we're just setting ourselves up for relegation. I think the pragmatism of Scott Parker, I think the work he's done individually to prep players, I do think will stand us in a bit of good stead. And, perhaps the euphoria we had after the Vincent Kompany Championship season and all these weird and wonderful players coming in from around Europe and beyond, we kind of got ourselves artificially excited, I think. Whereas this time, I think it'll be a lot less glamorous, but actually we'll have looked at some of these, looked at the way we've ended this season and kind of gone, you know what, actually, that is probably setting us up for a decent stab at survival in the Premier League. Not saying we're going to do it, but I think, on that today's showing against already on the beach QPR side, there's an option, there's a brief kind of glimmer that actually, you know what, personnel, pragmatism and performances could give us a different outcome.
I remember somebody predicting a 10th place finish for Vincent Kompany's Burnley. But
I think I did it on TNT Sports as well. I think I confidently stood on the council estate behind Turf Moor and said, yeah, no problem. No, get City out of the way, no problem. And it was about 6 months before we won a game, weren't it?
Yeah. But, the title situation, obviously, Monday night's going to be fascinating. I'm now going to be watching that game like I'm sure most Burnley fans are, really rooting for Bristol City. Give us a chance. But it's almost, with performances like that, and if we can replicate that against Millwall, obviously we want to win the title, Daz, but if we go out and win and play like that and we don't, we still go into the summer on a high, really, and just say, fair enough, Leeds, won the last 2 games, but we're giving ourselves every chance, aren't we?
Well, there was a telling moment in that interview I mentioned earlier that was on Sky where Josh Cullen was asked that question about the title, and he was saying, you want to win the title, it's not the be-all and end-all anymore because we've got promoted. That was task A, that was the one done, but now you're in this position, of course you want to win it, and why not? Why not? There's 32 games unbeaten in this league is astonishing. Phil Bird's been busy in the last half hour. He's been tweeting away. 14 away wins this season, a new club record. 14 away wins in 23. James Trafford, 29, has equalled the individual Football League clean sheet record. 30, Burnley equal the Football League record for clean sheets in a season, as we said, held by Port Vale. The records are just tumbling for this side. If we can get that title, and as Chris touched to on the pre-match, 3 championship title wins in a row, this side goes down in history already, doesn't it? But that just cements it.
Yeah. Picking up as well, I think the commentator said 4 second-half goals conceded all season.
Yeah.
And none in the last half an hour of a game.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
I think it was none away from home, maybe.
I think he said 4 all season in the second half and 2 in the last.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. But it's just that is unreal when you think about the amount of late goals there are at this level. We've talked about Luton getting one against Coventry. It is. That's the level of concentration, isn't it? To concede 2 goals in the last half an hour. And I think it might be none in the last 10 minutes or something like that. I can't think of any. Obviously, we had the Sunderland 2 penalties that could have gone that way. But the level of concentration, that again, they're the little signs where you go, players, human beings aren't conditioned to stay concentrated at that level of performance for that long. Everyone concedes last minute goals, don't they? Top teams in the Premier League, we have not been conceding goals. Still no team has scored more than 1 goal against us in a league match all season. I think it is only, is it Coventry's the only team to score 2 goals against us? Is it Norwich? Norwich, I think it was.
Yeah.
In 2 games.
But the desire in that side to not concede in the second, the focus really switched a bit to that, didn't it? You could just tell. There's one incident when Esteve was getting outpaced by the pacey QPR forward, but he got back, made the tackle. Trafford makes a fantastic save. Low to his left when he's hardly had a touch all afternoon.
Kept alert all game, didn't he?
Desire in that side to keep the clean sheet, get that record for Trafford and keep that run going. There's no way that side's not beating Millwall next week. I'm telling you now, boys. There's no way we're not beating Millwall. And I'm going to call it. Leeds are going to slip up.
I think they will.
So.
I think they will.
Yeah.
It's got to go to Plymouth. They've got to go to Plymouth on the last game of the season. Without getting all Keegan
and get something, and
I would love it. I would love it. I keep saying this just because, I've said weeks and weeks and weeks ago, Leeds and Sheffield United would lose more games between that point in time and the end of the season. That has come to pass already. My prediction now is the same as you, Daz. I think they slip up. They might not slip up on Monday, But by God, Plymouth are going to be fighting. I mean, it's tight down there at the bottom. They're going to
Not
be
been a
looking
great
for some.
result for them today, has it, Plymouth? Not
No,
been a
but they're
great
going to be
result for them
looking for
today.
pride, though, aren't they? I mean, their
Yeah,
manager came out and basically said, "Look, if I'd have been in charge all season, we wouldn't have been in this position." It
yeah.
might be a bit of bravado. I quite like that guy, but they were shy against us. But they're going to be looking for pride. That teams that are going down want momentum going into next season. And yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. I can't see us getting beat. I can see that Football League trophy. I mean, it'll be down in Devon anyway, won't it? Because that's what we'll have to get Brownie another blow-up trophy, or like they had at Charlton and Rovers. But yeah, we're winning it.
It's a tradition, the blow-up trophy for Burnley, isn't it? Now it's
Yeah.
The
absolutely.
danger with pods like this is they could date quite quickly. By the time this goes out, Plymouth could be relegated. They lose at Preston today, by the way.
Well,
Yeah,
Simon
yeah.
needs to get it out within the next 10 minutes just to make sure. But
Don't worry,
yeah,
don't worry.
yeah.
But
they're-
yeah,
they're
no,
up
there was.
against
I mean,
Preston.
we were talking about all these stats, and I think in the middle of the game, the commentators threw the one out, and we've said so many times that once we go 1-0, you feel like that's it. We're not going to lose that game, and the reason why we feel like that is because every game we've gone 1-0 up, on 22 occasions we've won it, and on none of them have we lost it. So that feeling we've got isn't arrogance. It's based in data, in facts. So. No, it's incredible. We could eulogise this team after today all day, but we won't do. We'll come back after we've seen what Leeds have done on Monday and dive into all that and start building things up for the final day of the season at Turf Moor against Millwall, when Burnley could be crowned champions of the Championship, champions of the English Football League. Let's look forward to that. All the best and up the Clarets.